Exclusive Investigation, Part 1. Chanel's Ultimate Say-So, The Global Blacklisting of Meghan Markle. Released February 11, 2026. Word count hitting 5,000 characters. The clock struck exactly 3:41 in the afternoon on the 7th of February, 2026, when Meghan Markle, decked out in a bespoke ivory cape and massive shades, tried to breeze into Chanel's flagship boutique right on North Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills. She was anticipating the usual hush-hush treatment, some worship, and that smooth slide right into a VIP suite. Instead, she ran into a total stone wall, 2 security guards planted there, totally silent and unmoving, blocking her path to those legendary double C doors. Nobody called a manager. They didn't offer excuses. One guard just stated plainly, "Our instructions are not to accommodate you." For someone previously celebrated as the fashion world's humanitarian darling, this was a shocking flip. However, it wasn't an error. It wasn't some clerical mix-up. This was the outcome of a calculated, permanent, and worldwide mandate locked in weeks prior over at Chanel's Rue Cambon HQ in Paris. A move so uncommon and total that even the inner circle whispered about it being the nuclear option. Behind high fashion's velvet curtain, Chanel had executed a strategic play. Meghan Markle was banned from every single boutique, showroom, and brand event around the globe. No access, no bookings, no product pulls, and definitely no press swag. In Chanel's vocabulary, this wasn't merely leaving her out. It was total erasure. Several onlookers told us Meghan just froze up. Her hand gripped her phone in the middle of a text. She didn't speak for a few seconds. Then came the meltdown. A staffer from a shop next door, who watched the whole drama unfold, from the Dior entrance, claimed Meghan made one call to Prince Harry. She was pacing back and forth like a wound-up toy. The source noted she kept repeating, "They're getting fired. I swear they're done. Nobody embarrasses me like this." Within 20 minutes, Harry showed up, hood up, looking pale, jaw clenched. He had a quick word with the security chief, who just nodded, then gave a single head shake. 0 exceptions. Harry didn't put up a fight. He reportedly turned to Meghan and muttered, low and flat, "Let's go, please." She wouldn't budge. Not for another 12 minutes. That 12-minute window was plenty of time for 3 video clips to pop up online, including one showing Meghan pointing a finger at the store entrance while clearly mouthing, "You don't know who I am." Chanel didn't answer any media inquiries. They didn't have to. As one industry old-timer told us, when Chanel goes silent, that is the statement. According to confidential files our newsroom looked over, Chanel's banishment protocol is hardly ever used and is known internally as retraite definitive final withdrawal. The policy is kept for people considered to have breached brand ethics or trust, caused reputational damage through constant public drama, or tried to strong-arm creative or operational teams. In Meghan's situation, it was the trifecta. Our sources backed up that the formal motion to start the permanent ban was signed off in December 2025 by Bruno Pavlovsky, Chanel's fashion president, and Françoise Montanet, the former chairwoman of the supervisory board and current senior advisor to the Wertheimer family. Behind closed doors, the final call was made after a file was put together by Chanel's internal brand integrity squad. That file didn't just have Meghan's leaked emails demanding co-creative credit for a limited edition handbag capsule back in early 2023, but also accounts from 4 ex-Chanel employees who painted Meghan as manipulative, patronizing, and obsessed with, quote, controlling the narrative. While the Beverly Hills showdown grabbed the headlines, the actual break happened 14 months prior during a private visit to the atelier in Paris on December 5, 2024. Meghan had been invited off the books through an American stylist friend under the guise of exploring a cultural collaboration. But the second she arrived, she allegedly introduced herself as a creative partner from the Archewell initiative and insisted on viewing sketches from the Métier 2025 line. She wasn't just asking questions. One atelier staffer revealed she was barking orders. She wanted a specific trim renamed after her, suggested getting rid of the French stiffness, and even asked how much control Karl Lagerfeld used to have, implying she deserved that same level. The vibe, according to our sources, turned icy instantly. She completely misread the room, said a Chanel archivist who saw the whole thing go down. Chanel isn't an incubator for self-promotion. It is a house, a temple, and temples don't worship outsiders. That visit was chased by a private sit-down between Bruno Pavlovsky and Virginie Viard, Chanel's creative director at the time, where Meghan was labeled as tactically uninsurable. Days later, her name was scrubbed from the guest list for the upcoming Métier d'Art show in Manchester. Chanel's blacklist was just the start. What a lot of observers missed is that this kicked off a coordinated distancing through the upper echelons of European couture. Our deep dive revealed that heavy hitters like Dior, Givenchy, Balmain, and Bottega Veneta all circulated quiet directives from their internal comms heads, tagging Meghan as a Level 3 brand liability. It's a label rarely slapped on A-listers, reserved for volatile personalities with messy reputations and zero signed contracts. A high-ranking PR strategist at LVMH, speaking off the record, put it bluntly. She's viewed as a disruptor, but not the kind that inspires art, the kind that inspires lawsuits. While the public bridge burning between Meghan Markle and Chanel might have blown up in February 2026, insiders know the cracks actually started forming 2 years prior. Back in the spring of 2023, during a hushed but hostile standoff industry folks call the mood board skirmish, everything hinged on a proposed Archewell meets Chanel capsule collection that never saw the light of day. And for good reason. What began as a few feeling-out chats rapidly devolved into a culture clash between the globe's most fiercely protected fashion fortress and a woman dead set on rewriting their DNA to fit her narrative. Things went from dialogue to disaster fast. In May 2023, Meghan and her Archewell business advisor, Vanessa Loren, made their move on. Chanel's American press office threw a middleman, Zara Carmichael, a former flack for Goop. The pitch? A limited, run humanitarian collection that would mash up Coco Chanel's history with Meghan's modern girl boss brand. Chanel's initial reply was cordial but cool. Internal memos, snagged from a leaked PR server, characterized the approach as pushy, presumptuous, and totally tone-deaf to the house's hierarchy. Despite the warning signs, a sit-down was booked for June 14, 2023, in New York City, between Chanel's U.S. head of relations and Meghan's camp. That meeting would go down in infamy. Several sources verified that Meghan walked in with a slide deck, dubbed Reimagining Chanel. From exclusivity to empathy. Her demands included swapping the iconic interlocking C's for a subtle arrow floral pattern on a range of silk scarves kicking off the ad campaign with real women instead of runway pros, featuring herself as the primary face and voice designing a series of eco-friendly purses named after royals, including a flagship bag called the Diana. When the Chanel execs asked if she had official clearance to use Princess Diana's name, Meghan reportedly shot back, "I am the carrier of her legacy. I don't need a permit to honor it." Then there was the leaked mood board. Within 7 days, visuals, allegedly crafted by Meghan's creative team, hit the web. Vintage shots of Princess Diana in Chanel suits. Black and white superimpositions of Meghan wearing look-alike ensembles. A slide captioned, "From Grief to Glamour, the Heirloom Collection." According to our insider, this leak set off alarms in Chanel's Paris legal department. Immediately, The issue wasn't just the look, the source clarified. It was the suggestion that Chanel's history could be used as a prop to rewrite someone else's story. That isn't synergy, that's hijacking. Chanel's brass convened an emergency summit on June 26, 2023, and by July 1st, all lines to Archewell went dead. A no-contact directive went out to every regional office. The initiative was killed quietly and officially, though the breakup behind the scenes was anything but clean. As for the fallout, Meghan reportedly didn't handle the no gracefully. In emails later, exposed by anonymous sources, she vented to a close friend. "They exploited me for headlines, then slammed the door. But I'll get bigger than them. I always do." By the end of 2024, Meghan started scrubbing Chanel mentions from her press junkets. No more. Name-checking, number 5. No more Chanel-coded looks on the red carpet. Instead, she pivoted to Valentino, Carolina Herrera, and self-portrait labels, seen as more open to Hollywood influence. However, according to a stylist who did a stint on Meghan's Netflix wardrobe team, the rejection cut deep. She became fixated on showing she didn't need Chanel. Yet, every time she put on a French designer, she'd ask, "Does this feel Parisian enough to make a statement?" It was personal. It became a war of brand identity versus personal branding. Fashion experts suggest the Chanel-Meghan split represents a massive friction between heritage houses and celebrity influencers. Chanel, much like Hermes or Rolex, deals in silence, history, and absolute control. Meghan's operation, on the other hand, runs on modern speed, viral moments, cause-based hype, and fast-twitch marketing. As one French executive noted to us, Meghan failed to grasp that Chanel doesn't exist to evolve through her. And in Paris, that distinction is everything. Exclusive investigative report, Part 3. 12 Minutes of Dead Air, the Chanel Beverly Hills Showdown, published February 11, 2026. Word count to 5,000 characters. Part 3. 12 Minutes of Dead Air. On a sunny afternoon, February 7, 2026, the vibe on North Rodeo Drive was the standard mix of high-end gloss and quiet money until 3:41 p.m., when an unexpected entourage crashed the scene. The strictest name in high fashion, Meghan Markle, accompanied by her aide Greta Yu and her stylist in training, Eliza Morrow, stepped out of a black Cadillac Escalade and marched right up to the Chanel flagship in Beverly Hills, anticipating the usual red carpet. Instead, she hit a wall she never saw coming, a total corporate freeze-out. What ensued was 12 minutes of stunned silence, filmed by onlookers, gossiped about by the elite, and only now, exposed in its entirety. The closed gates of a heritage brand. Based on time-stamped security records, leaked from a store file, Meghan arrived at the door at 15:41 and 12 seconds. Two uniformed Chanel guards, Miguel R. and Sophie L., both longtime employees of the retail arm, moved forward together. Sophie, positioned by the entrance, recited a script reserved for the rarest situations. "I apologize. Ma'am, we have orders not to grant entry." There was no shouting match, no scene. Meghan blinked a single time and replied in a monotone voice, "I have an agreement with your global director. Double-check it." Miguel didn't flinch. "Our system shows no active agreements. We have been informed this directive is effective across all regions." The term across regions was calculated. It indicated this wasn't just a local misunderstanding, it was worldwide and absolute. Onlookers claim Meghan kept her cool for the first 60 seconds while dialing Harry. At 15:43 and 9 seconds, Meghan retrieved her device and started stalking back and forth just outside the velvet barrier. Staff members from the neighboring Valentino and Fendi boutiques noted she was obviously on a call with Prince Harry, who was allegedly still at their Montecito home when she dialed. She was overheard saying, "They are going to be sorry for this, get Bruno on the line." A witness recalled, "She wasn't trying to keep it low-key. She wanted visibility. She wanted them to feel the heat." Palace insiders suggest Prince Harry, who had supposedly been warned about Chanel's internal do not admit list weeks, earlier begged her to depart right away, fearing a viral meltdown. His voice, picked up by a nearby customer's phone recording, was hushed and desperate. "Meg, this is not the way. Please, just walk away." Meghan stood her ground. The internal buzz intensified, while the drama unfolded on the sidewalk. Inside the store, the team watched via a hidden surveillance feed. An employee speaking on condition of anonymity described the vibe as stressful yet scripted. "We received explicit instructions last week. If she arrives, do not interact, do not provoke, no photos, just hold the position." This directive originated from the vice president of Chanel's Americas division, who allegedly circulated an INR P18 internal memo on February 1, 2026, designating Meghan Markle as a Tier 1 non-engaged subject. The wording left zero room for doubt. She was persona non grata, not only in Paris, but worldwide. By the time the clock hit 15:47, the escalation had shifted gears. Onlookers say she started filming herself, speaking into her device with a voice that swung between composure and staged outrage. At one juncture, she motioned at the doors and declared, "This is the treatment for women who use their voice. They demand silence, not innovation." The video never went live, but sources claim it was instantly fired off to her PR strategist, Andrea Fielding, with the subject header, "Use this if we go nuclear." Then came the shocker. According to Eliza Morrow, who confided in our reporter on the condition of anonymity, Meghan pivoted to a small group of pedestrians and publicly named a Chanel regional director, charging him with corporate bullying and lacking moral backbone. "She didn't care who heard," Eliza noted. "Actually, she wanted an audience. She thought it would strong-arm Chanel into lifting the ban. It didn't work." At precisely 15:53 and 21 seconds, Prince Harry pulled up unshaven, his baseball hat low and jacket open. Witnesses noted he didn't appear furious, just drained. A store clerk described it. "It was like watching a guy walk into a 9-hurricane he has survived before." He walked up to Meghan, tapped her elbow, and spoke exactly 5 words. "We need to go. Now." She jerked away initially, then gave in. They exited without another sound. The boutique never unlocked its doors. That evening, at 9:12 p.m., a message on Chanel's internal Slack went out to senior client managers globally. It stated, "If questioned, cite standard client protocols. No external comments. Our stance stands firm." Behind the curtain, other fashion houses were paying attention. By the following morning, Dior and Balenciaga had quietly ordered their Los Angeles locations to verify internal access levels. In the code of luxury retail, that translates to, "Check if Meghan is on the guest list. If so, scrub her name. What stays with you about those 12 minutes isn't the clash. It is the silence. No press release went out, no apologies were made, and no explanations were required. In the realm of haute couture, where diplomacy is stitched into the fabric, this wasn't merely a public incident. It was a total shutout. The gates didn't just swing shut, they were bolted tight. Part 4 of our End of Those. Deep Dive. When Paris walks away, the industry gives the cold shoulder to Meghan Markle. Published February 11, 2026. 5,000 characters. The halls of high fashion are paved with secrecy, but when the cold front hits, it hits hard. In the weeks after Meghan Markle's headline-making snub at the Tet Chanel boutique in Beverly Hills, a silent freeze moved through the French powerhouses. From the salons of Rue du Faubourg Saint-Honoré to the marble suites overlooking Place Vendôme, the big bosses made the call. Meghan Markle is out. In this town, once you're off the list, there is no eraser. According to high-level intel from a top fashion source, a clandestine sit-down happened on February 9, 2026, led by a heavyweight from Comité Colbert, the group that gatekeeps French luxury. The room was packed with brass from LVMH controlling Dior, Givenchy and Louis Vuitton and Kering Group, representing Balenciaga, Saint Laurent, and Bottega Veneta. Chanel, still privately held by the Wertheimer family, was there too, along with Hermes, and Celine advising. No official notes exist, but the leaked rundown is clear. Until further notice, scrub her. Name. No showrooms, no press swag, no influencer deals. It wasn't emotional, it was clinical. They called it PR contamination risk. Chanel pulled the trigger first, but the others fell in line fast. Dior, once tipped to sign her as a face of the brand, sent out a hush-hush memo. Stop sending clothes and ghost her agents. Givenchy, the label behind her 2018 wedding dress under Claire Waite Keller, wouldn't go on record, but an insider noted, "We're betting on fresh talent, not rerunning old drama." Balmain took it a step further. A digital campaign chat between Olivier Rousteing and Meghan was axed days before the shoot. Too dangerous. One VP noted, "The narrative shifts from the collection to her every single time." Even Jacquemus, usually pro-celebrity, reportedly shut it down. Nope. Behind every front-row ticket is a web of reps and stylists, deciding who gets the spotlight. Her name used to be a golden ticket. Now, it's a hazard light. A major euro. Stylist told us off the record. You bring her up, and the line goes dead. Then they change the subject. That translates to, don't ask twice. The Paris Fashion Week roster for March 4th through 11th, 2026 is out. Meghan is a ghost. No front row, no backstage passes, no press interviews. For a woman who used to sit next to Anna Wintour, it's a staggering drop. But her camp isn't taking it lying down. Her agency, Elmire Strategies, has been hustling. Since February 8th, they've floated 5 different comeback stories. A peacemaking piece in Harper's Bazaar. An eco-fashion cover for InStyle. A spot on Stella McCartney's podcast. They tried for a Marie Claire UK shoot on Healing Couture and even a TED Talk on Creative Space. Every single one was rejected or ignored. A French editor put it bluntly, "We don't care about her politics. We care about the chaos." She walks in, and it becomes a liability issue, not a luxury moment. While American media walks on eggshells, the French press is sharpening its knives. Le Figaro ran a headline about Chanel's silence being louder than words. Gala magazine published Duchess à la mode, from grace to grating. Even Vanity Fair France, usually friendly, wrote that she mistakes disruption for dominance. But high fashion doesn't bow to ego. It's not just about being seen, it's about being let in. That access is the key to sponsorships, media love, and long-term branding. Without it, even rich celebs end up on an island. As one vet said, doors open quiet, but they slam shut with an echo. Right now, Paris is on lockdown for her. The disruptor has become a warning sign. When Chanel locked the gates and the rest of the city followed, Meghan Markle didn't just back down. The quiet treatment from Chanel speaks volumes, louder than any official statement. Gala magazine published a biting piece called Duchess à la mode, from icon to outcast, tracking her decline in the style world. Even Vanity Fair France, formerly in her corner, noted that Madame Markle mistakes noise for actual power. But high fashion won't bow to arrogance. This industry isn't just about flashbulbs, it's about the velvet rope. That entry grants major deals, press backing, and legacy status. Lose that, and you're culturally stranded, no matter your net worth. A top insider put it perfectly. In this world, entry is a whisper, but rejection is a boom. As it stands, the Parisian gates are barred. Meghan, once a shaker, is now the industry's biggest red flag. When that luxury house locked the bolt and the rest of the city mimicked the move, she didn't just give up, quietly. But insiders say the Duchess, a woman obsessed with steering her own story, didn't take the silence sitting down. She instantly pivoted to lawsuits, secret PR blasts, and shadow pressure tactics to regain her footing, status, and pull within the style industry. Yet, the old playbook failed. On February 8, 2026, barely 24 hours following the drama at the Beverly Hills boutique, Meghan's entertainment lawyer, Jonathan Y., hopped on a crisis call with heavy hitters from Levon and O'Donnell, a Shark Tank litigation outfit out of New York. The agenda? Figure out if they could slap Chanel with a discrimination or libel suit for damaging her brand and costing her business. We got eyes on a leaked draft from her camp, listing the heavy charges they considered filing. Tortious interference with future deals, bias-based, exclusion under California's Unruh Civil Rights Act, intentional emotional distress, and shady business practices violating international trade treaties. Internally, they dubbed the operation Project Salvage. But legal eagles, including a retired Superior Court judge, tore the strategy apart, calling it feelings, disguised as facts. There is no law that forces a private luxury house to like you. As one analyst put it, exclusivity isn't discrimination, it's the business model. By February 10th, the lawsuit idea was dead in the water. So, Meghan switched gears. Blocked by the courts, she went to her old reliable, the strategic leak. At 11:17 a.m. Pacific on February 9th, Nadia Campbell, the comms boss at Archewell, blasted an email to over 40 contacts across fashion, lifestyle, and left-leaning news platforms. The subject line screamed, "An ongoing pattern. Women of color in luxury spaces." The message, which we reviewed, spun a tale of deep-seated bias and systematic shutout. It brought up Meghan's wars with the British, tabloids, the drama of her royal exit, and supposed corporate cold shoulders. It didn't explicitly name the French house, but the finger-pointing was obvious. They pitched everyone from The Cut to Teen Vogue, Refinery 29, and LUK. The result? Crickets. Only one outlet ran a friendly piece. Inside Archewell, the silence caused a meltdown. An employee who quit on February 10th described total panic to us. She needed a win, but the narrative was slipping away. We were just flinging spaghetti at the wall to see what would stick. Leaked WhatsApp chats show the Duchess barking orders, demanding her team regain control. Push the humanitarian angle. Play the Diana card if you have to. One text was explicit. Make them remember who I am. Remember what I've survived. But the public wasn't buying it. From LA to London, PR pros saw the tide turn. Her attempt to spin the story blew up in her face. Nobody saw a victim. They saw deflection, noted a consultant, for a major European luxury brand. It wasn't about clothes. It was about dominance. The public smelled it, and so did we. Agencies in New York and Paris started warning clients to steer clear of anything Sussex-related, citing drama fatigue. A strategist at a top NYC firm summed it up on Slack. She doesn't shift merchandise, she just shifts headlines. But the knockout punch came from within the industry itself. On the night of February 10th, a confidential Berganda email from Chanel fashion president Bruno Pavlovsky surfaced on the invite-only forum, Modelex. Dated January 28, 2026, it stated, "Sometimes, silence is our best shield. This is one of those times." He added, "We cannot absorb chaos just to please a celebrity." The choice regarding M was tactical, not personal. Her camp will eventually get it. The memo went viral among insiders, confirming what everyone suspected. This wasn't just a snub, it was a lockout. the industry was shielding itself. In 7 days, she went from firing off legal threats to watching her status crumble on the very stages she used to rule. Archewell received rejection after rejection. Podcast deals evaporated. Stylists bailed on contracts. PR teams literally added her to do not book lists. She tried to weaponize the narrative, a senior exec observed, but forgot the golden rule. In high fashion, if you force your way in, you'll be dressed for the exit. A week post Beverly Hills, Meghan isn't battling for a front row seat anymore. She's scrambling for relevance. With Chanel's door firmly bolted and legal options dead, with major fashion labels barring entry, the Duchess is facing a harsh truth she has never had to deal with on this level: being totally frozen out. In the couture game, that kind of silence speaks volumes. Insiders at streaming giants like Netflix and Spotify claim the shockwaves from the Chanel disaster have spread way past Beverly Hills and the Paris runways. Meghan's production arm, Archewell, had been deep in talks to resurrect a docuseries focused on redefining the monarchy's style legacy. That agreement is now, as one executive described it, dead on arrival. The cause? Optics. No brand wants to tie themselves to a figure whose clout feels messy or manufactured. A producer at Netflix noted this wasn't limited to just Chanel. It forced a total rethink of her market value. We are seeing the same thing happen at Spotify, where plans have since been put on ice indefinitely. Multiple sources verify that Meghan has started secretly looking into moving abroad, eyeing spots like Canada, Australia, and Switzerland. While the PR spin claims it is for better schools or a quiet life in nature, those in her inner circle suggest the real reason is darker and way more urgent. A resident in Montecito, chatting off the books, painted the vibe inside the Sussex mansion as suffocating. She has fallen out of the social loop. Friends don't drop by anymore. Calls go to voicemail. Stylists aren't hitting her back. Even gala invites have dried up. It feels like the industry collectively and calmly decided they are moving on. Up north in Canada, public sentiment regarding Meghan has taken a nosedive since 2020. Data from a confidential poll provided by a Toronto PR agency shows approval numbers with female shoppers aged 25 to 45 have plummeted 43% since just January. They feel she preaches strength but acts with arrogance. The strategist pointed out a disconnect between the image she sells and the reality people witness. Strangely enough, while the fashion world locks up, a royal window seems to be cracking open for Harry. Insiders near the Windsor clan verify that the prince has started making quiet moves about slipping back into the fold. This would not mean becoming a full-time working royal again, but maybe a low-key return doing charity work or attending historical commemorations. But these talks depend on one non-negotiable term, supposedly passed down via Princess Anne and Lady Louise. Meghan is out. There is no ticket back for the pair of them. A palace staffer stated it bluntly. The firm is open to taking Harry back, provided he picks service over the drama. By all reports, Harry is conflicted, yet pals claim the Chanel mess shook him up like nothing else. He witnessed what happens when the public drops the charade, a buddy of his revealed, and it scared him. At the core of this whole drama is a harsh reality. The Meghan Markle trademark just isn't selling anymore. Not in Paris, not in Tinseltown, and definitely not in the curated realm of paid endorsements where she used to be queen. Her Archewell Foundation is suffering from donor burnout, with 2 massive backers walking away since late January. Her lifestyle venture is stalled in development hell, with unsold stock from that flop jam collection reportedly sitting in 2 storage lockers up in Santa Barbara. Her people have basically given up on chasing high-end fashion deals after getting turned down 9 times in a row. For the moment, Meghan is stuck in California. circled by a shrinking squad and fewer defenders than she has ever had. Her old, reliable cheerleaders in the media like Gayle King and Oprah have stayed totally silent during this scandal. You haven't heard a peep from former partners like Serena or Tyler Perry either. Where she goes from here is a mystery. Some think she will lean hard into a tell-all book or political activism. Others think she will just fade into the background, not because she wants to, but because she has to. However, experts in the luxury sector claim the writing is already on the wall. In high fashion, you don't get do-overs at this altitude. Once you are blacklisted, no email, no sorry note, no PR headline can get you back inside. On February 10th, a single photo made the rounds among fashion editors and top wardrobe pros. It depicted the Chanel flagship on Rue Cambon. The front was quiet, glass shining, doors locked tight. A small sign sat in the window. Entrée sur invitation, entrance by invite only. And in that quiet moment, Meghan Markle's era in high fashion came to a silent, permanent close.